Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories. Please like and subscribe, and hit that notification icon so you never miss out. Now on with the stories.
Test sucesso, I'm finally ready to purchase my first home. After months of searching, I find a lovely little spot in a nice HOA community that I've heard lots of good things about. The house is nestled in a picturesque neighborhood, surrounded by towering oak trees and well-manicured lawns. The community boasts a beautiful clubhouse, tennis courts, and an indoor pool that caught my eye immediately. As I toured the property, I could already envision myself settling into this idyllic setting. The closing date is coming up soon, supposedly October 3rd, but the process has been moving at a snail's pace. The house hasn't even been appraised yet, which is causing me no small amount of anxiety. Every day that passes without progress feels like an eternity, and I find myself constantly checking my phone for updates from my realtor. The waiting game is taking its toll on my nerves, as I juggle work responsibilities with the endless paperwork and documentation required for the purchase. I've already had to reschedule my moving plans twice, and the uncertainty is making it difficult to give notice at my current rental. To make matters worse, the seller's agent seems to be dragging their feet on providing necessary documents, and my lender keeps requesting additional information at the last minute. The lack of communication from all parties involved is frustrating, leaving me in a state of limbo. I've started having vivid dreams about the house slipping through my fingers, waking up in cold sweats, and immediately reaching for my phone to check for any overnight updates. The stress of this drawn-out process is beginning to affect my daily life, making it hard to concentrate at work and enjoy my free time. Just recently, though, I've learned some troubling information that's casting a shadow over my dream home. A fiber internet company is ready to install high-speed internet into the community, but the HOA is trying to skim off the top. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the neighborhood, with residents divided and tensions running high. The fiber company's proposal promises to revolutionize internet access in our rural area, offering speeds that would make working from home and online education a breeze. However, the HOA's attempt to profit from this essential service has sparked outrage among many residents. Some homeowners are organizing petitions and planning to confront the HOA board at the next meeting, while others are reluctantly siding with the HOA, fearing that challenging their authority might lead to other issues down the line. The once quiet community Facebook group has turned into a battleground of heated debates and accusations, with neighbors taking sides and friendships being strained over the issue. The community is located in a very rural area where internet options are severely limited. Currently, residents are forced to rely on satellite internet that costs a staggering $200 a month. For a measly 7 megabits per second download speed, it's like stepping back in time to the early 2000s, with painfully slow connections that are about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. The exorbitant cost only adds insult to injury. Despite its internet woes, the community itself is filled with wealthy families and summer vacation homes. The streets are lined with luxurious cars, and perfectly landscaped gardens surround each property. It's a stark contrast to the digital dark age the residents are living in. Strolling through the neighborhood, one can't help but marvel at the opulence on display. Sprawling mansions with manicured lawns and intricate water features dot the landscape. High-end SUVs and sports cars gleam in circular driveways, while professional landscaping crews meticulously trim hedges and tend to vibrant flower beds. The community clubhouse boasts a state-of-the-art gym and an Olympic-sized pool, further emphasizing the affluence of the area. Yet, behind the facades of these impressive homes, residents struggle with glacially slow internet speeds, unable to fully enjoy the modern amenities their wealth should afford them. The irony is palpable as million-dollar homes are equipped with cutting-edge smart home technology that can barely function due to the inadequate internet infrastructure. In the new age of COVID-19, with so much schooling being done from home, the community has been grappling with serious issues due to the subpar internet. Children struggle to attend online classes, their faces freezing mid-sentence during Zoom calls. Parents working remotely find themselves unable to join important video conferences, potentially jeopardizing their careers. The frustration is overwhelming, with many residents at their wits' end, if this works. Apparently, the community has been fighting tooth and nail to convince the HOA to allow the fiber lines to be installed. They've cited the desperate need for reliable internet for school and work, but the HOA seems to have turned a deaf ear to their pleas. The board members, poised in their ivory towers, appear more concerned with lining their pockets than addressing the needs of the community they're supposed to serve. As I delve deeper into this issue, I discover that the HOA's resistance to the fiber installation goes beyond mere greed. There are whispers of backdoor deals with the current satellite internet provider, allegations of kickbacks, and rumors of personal vendettas against the fiber company. The plot thickens with each new piece of information I uncover. The situation has created a rift in the community. On one side, you have the tech-savvy residents and young families who are desperate for better internet. They've formed a grassroots movement, complete with social media campaigns and yard signs advocating for fiber installation. On the other side, you have the old guard, long-time residents who fear change and are content with the status quo, no matter how outdated it may be. What's most baffling is that these people are so short-sighted they don't realize they don't need to skim off the top. The terrible internet is the only downside to this otherwise perfect community. Installing fiber would instantly skyrocket the value of the properties, benefiting everyone in the long run. It's like they're sitting on a gold mine but refusing to dig because they're afraid of getting their hands dirty. As I contemplate my potential future in this community, I find myself torn. The house itself is everything I've dreamed of, spacious, modern, with a beautiful view of the surrounding countryside. But the prospect of dealing with Stone Age internet and a stubborn HOA gives me pause. I begin to wonder if there's anything I can do if I buy this house to try to annoy someone or make my voice heard to get fiber allowed. I start researching HOA bylaws and regulations, looking for any loophole or leverage I can use. Do HOAs have meetings I can attend or a board I can run for? Is there someone in charge I can constantly call, email, or show up to complain to? The more I dig, the more complex the situation becomes. I uncover a web of local politics, long-standing feuds, and conflicting interests that make my head spin. As the closing date approaches, I find myself at a crossroads. Do I walk away from my dream home because of this internet debacle, or do I dive in headfirst, ready to fight the good fight for better connectivity? The decision weighs heavily on me, keeping me up at night as I weigh the pros and cons. I decide to reach out to some of the current residents to get their perspective. I connect with Julie, a young mother of two who's been leading the charge for fiber installation. She shares horror stories of her children missing crucial online exams due to internet outages and her husband nearly losing a major client because he couldn't join a video call. Her passion and determination are infectious, and I find myself drawn into the cause. On the flip side, I also speak with George, an elderly gentleman who's lived in the community for decades. He scoffs at the need for high-speed internet, insisting that if dial-up was good enough back in my day, it's good enough now. His resistance to change is frustrating, but it gives me insight into the mindset I'll be up against if I decide to join this community. As I mull over my options, I receive an unexpected call from my realtor. The appraisal has finally come through, and the house has been valued even higher than the asking price. It's a sign, I think to myself. Maybe this is meant to be. I decide to take the plunge and move forward with the purchase. But I'm not going in naively. I'm arming myself with knowledge about HOA regulations, networking with like-minded residents, and preparing for a battle to bring this community into the 21st century. The closing day arrives, and as I sign the mountain of paperwork, I feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. I'm not just buying a house. I'm stepping into a community in turmoil, ready to make my voice heard. As I'm handed the keys to my new home, I can't help but feel that I'm also being handed a mission: to fight for progress and drag this HOA kicking and screaming into the digital age. As I unlock the door to my new home for the first time, I take a deep breath. The house is perfect, but the battle for better internet looms large. I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready for the challenge. After all, in today's world, the right to high-speed internet is worth fighting for. And fight I will, armed with determination, facts, and a vision for a better connected community. Kind of a few inaccuracies there. Since Dodd-Frank became law, appraisals are not run by banks. There is an intermediary called an AMC, Appraisal Management Company. The borrower pays their bank for an appraisal, and the bank tells the AMC that an appraisal needs done on the property. The AMC puts out the order and appraisers will bid on it. In regards to trying to appraise for the purchase price, that's usually what happens unless there is some crazy shit going on. There's going to be comparable homes in the area that sold for similar amounts, so it's usually easy to get the purchase to match up. The only time an appraiser is going to come under purchase price is if there's a huge difference in value. Like if you buy a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,300 square foot house for $500,000, and a similar house down the road sold for $400K 3 months ago, there's very little that can cause that much of a jump. The bank's definitely going to reject that sale. Usually you wouldn't be this far in a contract and still have a contingency that allows you out based on due diligence, finding out about the internet. It's not even remotely weird that your appraisal isn't back yet. That's the last piece of the puzzle, usually comes back days before closing. Unless it appraises low, you're probably not getting out without losing your earnest money. But people seem to forget that it's more than just losing your earnest money. The seller could sue for damages if you don't back out on a contingency. It is a legally binding contract, not an arbitrary piece of paper. Crazy story. So in my little HOA not that long ago, an ISP wanted to lay down fiber. The HOA fought tooth and nail, which is retarded by the way, and even petitioned the city, filed an injunction. The whole 9 yards. They eventually lost because the community was designed with easements for gas, water, and you guessed it, fiber. It was all part of the master plan of the developer, but it just took until enough homes were built for the company to incur the expense of boring the neighborhood. Long story short, local court ruled in the favor of the ISP, and the HOA had to pay their court costs. Moral of the story, it's likely the same. Your HOA, like all, is run by a hybrid beast I refer to as a boomer Karen. They are power-hungry vultures, evil, and literally the worst people to walk the planet.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.